Welcome to the Gruber Morning Show. This is our Artificial Future podcast that we do every Wednesday, where we talk about all things artificial intelligence and the latest developments and the impact it has on commerce, on the way we live. One of the things that's making the news this week is a longshoreman strike, and that's what the image behind me is about. What we're showing here is that this is another industry that was rapidly heading toward automation, and we'll show you a video later on that confirms that. But in the meantime, we have what could be termed as legalized extortion. We've got an economy that's attempting to recover and reemerge, and turns out that the longshoremen at this point, led by Harold Daggett, are striking. And at this point, there are 45,000 dock workers who went on strike yesterday, for the first time in decades at 36 U.S. ports from Maine to Texas. And the extortion has to do with higher wages and killing automation. Well, good luck with that one. So it turns out that unions, remember the UAW strike just recently, have had a string of recent victories, in addition to the backing of a pro-union administration under Joe Biden. He was standing out there with the picketers at one point. And their negotiating position this time is strengthened even further by the nation's supply chain of goods being under pressure after the aftermath of Hurricane Helene and the peak shipping season, which is coming up, which is the holidays. Now, if you think for a moment that this wasn't calculated and planned, think again. So, of course, the union is talking about record shipping profits for the shipping companies and the post-pandemic, issues that still haven't completely recovered. And of course, inflation, which is definitely a part of the problem here, and which has eroded their pay in recent years. So the thing I wanted to show you, though, is, and we've got a video here, Jesse. Can we bring up that video from Guangzhou, China? Here is
which video?
It's the first
The dock workers one?
China docks, yes. And here's the future, folks. What we're going to see here is, in China, the dock workers really don't exist anymore. There are some office workers. And what we're seeing here is the equivalent of a bunch of video gamers. And what they're doing is controlling dock movement, sea containers, robots, cranes. It's all being done remotely. Now, you take a look at the precision here and the fact that from a technological standpoint, this is not very complicated. What we have here is XY coordinates, all of which AI knows precisely where everything is, and the movement being handled by autonomous tugs. This is the future of dock working. And of course, a lot of jobs have gone away. In fact, there was a comment here. Can we learn anything from their advanced automation, China, and large workforce abstracted away from their political system? If not, they shudder. They say incredible tech, but I always wonder, what does China do with all the workers that are displaced by automation? Well, what I like to think is that that room where you saw these people apparently playing video games are the new breed of dock workers. And this is where the work takes place now.
And Pete, one thing to highlight there, this is all AI. They're not actually controlling all this stuff. They have the ability to, and they're supervising, and they can intervene if they need to. But all of this is completely AI.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. That's true. This is so they're basically monitoring, but if you think about it, AI algorithms can handle all of this. They know when the ship arrived. They know what the load was, and from there, they go into storage. It tracks everything and operates the machinery. Basically, have a number of questions coming in already. YouTube, Clark Swartz says hi from Gilbert. Thanks for joining us. Instagram, Vinoth_Swami_Das. He says hi. And then United Kingdom of Vinland. He says hi from upstate New York. That's a YouTube visitor. I lived, by the way, in the Finger Lakes region for a number of years. Bristol, New York, the ski area there in the valley. Beautiful part of the country. Just couldn't handle the four seasons anymore. Of course, now we're out here and we're breaking records still in the month of October.
Yeah, I'll try and look it up. I wonder what the record is now. We've definitely broken it.
Yeah. All right. So again, it's another one of those disappointing deviations from keeping the economy healthy. And the guy that's leading all of this, by the way, for the Longshoremen is Harold Daggett, and he has been involved in this union for many decades, actually. He was a longshoreman himself at one point in time. And I love these guys, the comments that they make. And here's a quote from him. And this was with Fox News in an interview. He says, "When my men hit the streets from Maine to Texas, every single port will lock down." Well, do we really need to be terrified of all this? It's a tragedy that it occurred in the first place, that they couldn't negotiate something. Instead, we're going to make the economy suffer even more. But it gets even better. Some more quotes from him. "Who's going to win here in the long run? You're better off sitting down and getting a contract," Daggett added. "Let's move on this, world. I will cripple you, and you have no idea what that means." Oh, anyway, we've got another colorful character. After Sean Fain, I thought maybe that was over, but it looks like Harold Daggett is the new guy in the news with a lot of strong language about how he's going to cripple the U.S. economy unless they get what they want. TikTok, On-Call Diagnosis Mobile says, "I work for Stellantis, and they are doubling down on software and AI." You make a good point there. The problem that these guys have, and it happened with the SAG-AFTRA group. Remember when the writer's strike occurred last year? It was within weeks of an announcement that AI is going to be able to do script writing and do it a whole lot better than the humans that have been involved all this time. And of course, they did the same thing. They tried to write things in the contract to prevent automation, prevent AI from infiltrating, and keep humans involved in the process. Folks, it doesn't work. Give it up. AI is coming. It's coming fast. And all these guys have done is, again, like SAG-AFTRA, where they pushed the studio execs into getting far more serious about AI tools. Same thing's going to happen here. The level of automation that's going to occur is going to wipe out these kinds of legalized extortion efforts in the future. And we'll eventually say, hey, they did it to themselves. YouTube, Kingdom of Vinland, he says, "I can see an argument to use automation to fill gaps in the workforce, but I don't think it should be used to just replace people." The motivators here, Kingdom of Vinland, are economics. And unfortunately, corporations anywhere are completely focused on profits. The bigger they get, the less important people are. One of the things I'm proud of in a smaller company like us, we're about $30 million combined revenue, is that companies like ours still have a soul. They still have some feeling for the people that make up the workforce, and not all decisions are based on spreadsheets and profits. But the bigger they get, and the more diluted the ownership becomes and the control, and the shareholders take over, the more that focus turns to strictly profits. So, yes, I agree with you. It should not be used to just replace people, but unfortunately, it typically does. YouTube, Bernard Holman, welcome. He's from Toluca, Mexico. Instagram, Penguin 207355. Will automation bring costs down? Good question. Yes, absolutely. Think of it this way. In any kind of a business, you have a bunch of human beings that are creating goods, services, and or developing product manufacturing. Robots work 24/7. They don't get salaries. They are far more efficient, far more accurate, and eventually that brings prices down, especially when you take a look at the target prices that are being bantied about by people like Elon Musk, saying that humanoid robots are going to be about $20,000. I don't know of a business owner that wouldn't gladly spend 20K rather than hire a human being at a salary and sometimes a sign-on bonus and all of the other stuff that comes with it, from vacations, sick days, working 8 hours per day versus 24/7. $20,000 is a hellacious bargain. Now, of course, humans are going to have to find other things to do, and that could be a problem in the short term. But again, if you follow the conclusion of all of this automation and AI, the goal is eventually to create a utopian society where currencies go away, borders go away, and we all live in harmony and peace, and we have an age of abundance. There's no such thing as disparity in incomes or wealth. We all have wealth. We all have everything we need. So we just have to get there. YouTube, Kitsap Publishing. It's Ingemar Anderson. How are you in Seattle? He says he's going to be joining us, by the way, next week if everything works out. I think it'll be a Zoom call. Yeah, actually, Ingemar has written a couple of books now, I believe, and we're going to talk about that. They are AI related. Looking forward to that session next week. Instagram, Penguin207355. Will automation bring costs down? YouTube, Kingdom of Vinland says, I'm in the Finger Lakes area. Closest one to me is Seneca. Yeah, Seneca Lake. By the way, all of the names back there were old Indian names, Mohawk, bunch of different tribes that inhabited that area many moons ago. Instagram, T. Joseph 2018 says, hi, Boston Dynamics is creating robotic police force that will replace half the humans. Well, half the police, we hope. Italo Garcia from YouTube. Hi, nice video. Thank you. We've got another one coming out here probably today, we're thinking, and it's going to be on autonomous driving. And this was a fun one to create. It's the lack of standardization in autonomous driving. All the car manufacturers are doing their own thing, and we would have a far faster, better product if they were all moving, or if they were all working together on it. Italio Garcia says, "Hay a supernatural movement." That's a different language, and I'm not going to pretend I know what that is. But thanks for commenting. Instagram, T. Joseph 2018. No workman's comp. No, he's talking about robots again. No workman's comp. No sick days. No lawsuits, by the way. Robots. Oh, no unions. They're not going to organize, right? Well, we think anyway. But there are ethical issues. Will there eventually be a, some agencies that protect the robots? He continues, no racially motivated maneuvers. That's true. Why? I mean, what kind of biases could you possibly have with a robot? Well, that's an older robot than the one that I have, so mine's better. I suppose that as humans, we can come up with something. But he says the robot will replace it all and unions will get zero. YouTube, Kingdom of Vinland, one of the biggest concerns I have is, how will robots be damaged by salt water and such in the environment? We're going to have to make robots that are more impervious to those things. I think what part of what you're talking about is Hurricane Helene has again reignited the interest in EVs getting waterlogged with salt water. There were some fires that were reported. We talked about that yesterday in our podcast. And one of the fires allegedly burned down a house. There was a car sitting inside the garage. The house survived the hurricane, but after salt water got in the battery pack, allegedly it ignited and the house became rubble.
I think that's an easy solution, though. I mean, that's just like something as simple as stainless steel,
Yeah.
And also, too, I think everybody thinks, oh, robots are going to replace the workers, and we're all thinking that they're going to look like humanoid robots, which you don't really need that. You could have like just a big arm picking up sea containers and moving them that way. They don't have to look like a human being, on the dock. So
let's put up DocBot picture, Jesse.
Okay.
And this is exactly what Aaron is just mentioning. These types of robots are task specific. So they need to be able to lift tons. That's not going to be a humanoid form. So this is AI's rendition of what a sea container movement bot would look like and how it would function. So Kingdom of Inland was also saying, I was also thinking about rust. That would probably be a problem, like you mentioned, stainless steel. You know, we're starting to look at a vertical market now. Robots have to have power connected to them, and it can't be an extension cord because they're, you know, maneuvering like we are. They need a DC plant. They need batteries in them. And we are in the battery business. So we're beginning to get some interest in utilizing our AGM batteries in robots. And of course, lithium-ion makes perfect sense. And eventually we'll have, who knows, there may be solar charging capabilities on the robots to keep the batteries charged, just like we do with cars and other things and homes.
And the thing to remember too about, we were talking about water, rain, elements, that kind of stuff. I mean, we've figured it out with cars, right? I mean, the cars drive tens of thousands of miles before, you know, rust is an issue, or, you know, you have to get it serviced, right? The same thing will happen with robots. I think it'll be fine.
Oh, absolutely. And the coolest part is the robots are probably service themselves. So any large corporation with a bunch of, you know, robots out there will have a service department run by robots to take care of the preventive maintenance.
That's the part people are scared about, though, Pete. Robots building robots.
Yep, that's yeah. I know that Cass is very concerned about the uncanny valley aspects of all of this. We've got another a segment here where we're going to look at a humanoid robot that now is looking very human. It's no longer just machinery and gears popping out.
And Pete, real quick, just so you know, on the heat update, we are 15 degrees hotter than average for this time of year, which is way hotter. And the records that are currently being set are yesterday and the day before. We set the all-time high for those days ever recorded.
Amazing. And we're going to hear about it on the news now for the next 10, 20 years. Hopefully this is an anomaly and this will be it. But so maybe I shouldn't have left the Finger Lakes region just for those reasons. YouTube, Jason Davies joined us. Do you think AI automation will take away the idea of work equal reward? And if so, could that be harmful? Well, remember, those are human needs, validation, reward. These are ego type needs. These machines could care less. You know, you can, in fact, some of the videos that I see, you know, where like Boston Dynamics, who builds exquisite robots, they actually abuse them. They intentionally kick them, push them, make them fall down, just to test, you know, their resilience. And the robot has no feelings. It doesn't care. Now, of course, that's today. We really think that AI is going to move into a much more sophisticated direction eventually, from super intelligence to, you know, to general intelligence. And we believe that the machines will eventually have a form of emotion, maybe even hold resentment, become very human-like. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think that it's possible that they can develop their own kind of emotion. I think what this commenter was asking, though, is, well, introducing all this automation, people aren't going to have to, they're not going to need to get rewarded, so what will their drive be?
Oh, you're right. Yes. Okay.
And, well,
in a utopian society.
When nobody has to work, or when you work for something and you don't get a reward because you just have everything that you want, what does that end up doing for you? And I was going to ask you about this specifically because I think a good sample of this would be like trust fund kids.
Yeah.
Where
because I have some deeply held beliefs about where I want humanity to go. And that is an unanswered question, Jesse. What will happen to our motivation
when we have it all?
If we have it all. And the closest that we have to that is actually a movie that was created. Initially, I thought it was comedy. It turns out it was a documentary. The movie's called Idiocracy. And they're sitting there playing video games all day long, getting validation without doing anything constructive or productive. Now, will something inside of us crave that, and then we begin to actualize that into other endeavors like artistry, music, creating things? That's yet to be determined, I think.
Well, that's the reason I asked that specifically. was because I know that you have had these companies for a long time. You've been very successful with these companies, but you didn't do that for your kids, right? You still taught them the values that they need to have for going out and being business leaders and, you know, being responsible, doing that kind of stuff, instead of just giving them an endless trust fund and letting them do whatever they want.
No, they're actually annoyed with me because I keep telling them right from birth, I said, I'm going to spend all the money, so don't even count on that.
I'm going to spend all the money.
What I will do for you is teach you how to make money and how to sacrifice and how to, work 80 hours a week and still maintain work-life balance. Those are the gifts that I'm imparting to my kids.
So, but what happens if now this was the last generation of that? Because that's not going to be important anymore if everybody has everything, right?
Yeah. Well, that's probably a whole nother rabbit hole that we can go down in one of these AI podcasts, is to take a look at the eventualities and what the outcomes will be. But it is definitely a concern. I mean, it's on the forefront, I think, of most people that are interested in AI. All right. Instagram, T. Joseph 2018, great job on your podcast. God bless you guys. Thank you. Instagram, He34 says hello. Kingdom of Vinland says, I think our best option for clean energy is nuclear power. Now, Jesse would disagree with that. What would you call that?
The best option is what? Nuclear power?
Nuclear power.
Yeah, I know that is right. Fusion.
Fusion, exactly.
Yes, nuclear.
Plus, solar isn't the best suited for northern latitudes where the sun doesn't rise for months. Yes, plus batteries, or at least lithium-ion, don't like extreme temperatures, so I can see that issue. Fusion energy, which they are coming very close to some sort of major breakthroughs, is basically perpetual motion. It's the sun, same thing that the sun is made of, a bunch of plasma that is continuously creating energy. And once we have perfected that source for energy, all of these other things that you were talking about will go away, including nuclear power, which creates a lot of waste, and solar, and hydroelectric, and
Well, yeah, so it's just
storage.
a different type of nuclear. That's what I was meaning. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Instagram, Perfect Electronics says hi. YouTube, Italo Garcia. Yes. New art. Yeah. There you go. So here's an interesting headline. If your AI seems smarter, it's thanks to human trainers. I didn't realize this, but in the early years, to get AI models like GPT or its rival Cohere to spit out human-like responses, it required a vast team of low-cost workers helping models distinguish basic facts, such as if an image was a car or a carrot. But more sophisticated updates to AI models in this fiercely competitive field are now demanding rapidly expanding network of human trainers who have specialized knowledge, from historians, scientists, some with doctorate degrees. They say a year ago we could get away with hiring undergrads to just generally teach AI how to improve. But now we have licensed physicians teaching the models how to behave in medical environments, and of course many other disciplines as well. Now, this company that is making these claims is Cohere, which is like OpenAI. They were last valued at $5 billion, so it's not a small fly-by-night company. And Cohere is also one of the main rivals of OpenAI. But what they've been doing is hiring advanced degreed individuals now to help legitimize or make AI more accurate. They have 5,000 people in over 100 countries around the world that are PhDs, master's degree holders, and knowledge work specialists. Now, pay. This is interesting too. They pay up to $40 per hour depending on the location of the workers or the complexity of work. Some companies, however, like Outlier, pay $50 an hour, while another company called Labelbox says it pays up to $200 per hour for high expertise subjects like quantum physics, but they start at $15 for the basic topics, like distinguishing a carrot from a car or whatever. That's the $15 job. If you're getting into quantum physics, then you're going to probably be the $200 guy. So it looks like a whole new field that longshoremen could go into after their docks are automated. What do you guys think?
You're going to need alternatives.
Yep. Here's another headline: AI and globalization are shaking up the software developers' world. Their code will get cheaper. It's because AI is replacing a lot of this. And you know what? I had another example of using AI in Visual Fox Pro. There was an instruction in our Power Services group that is an expression that adds an uplift to certain regions in the United States based on a higher cost for subcontractors to do work or our employees. And I couldn't for the life of me remember what that code precisely how it worked. So I fed it into ChatGPT-4, and lo and behold, it gave me a long dissertation about what that code does. The only thing it didn't know was the unique field names that I had used or created at the time that I did that. But it was actually on target in that it recognized that it was a region uplift formula that could be used.
I'm sure it would have done that, though, if you would have prompted it a little more. It could have done what you were asking.
It could have,
You
yes.
just have to be super specific with it, but that's cool that it did that.
Yeah. Which, of course, Visual Fox Pro programmers, we're talking about a six-figure salary these days because it's an obsolete software package. AI spit it out for, what do we pay, $30 a month or something?
Not even that, $20.
So anyway, yes, businesses that aren't using AI, they continue to say are going to go by the wayside, and that definitely is beginning to look like that's true. Kingdom of Vinland was saying, I was thinking of nuclear fission, at least as a stopgap till we can get fusion to be viable. Nuclear fission, in my opinion, is our best option until we can get fusion to become viable. You know, it's interesting you mentioned that. Microsoft is buying 3 Mile Island, which is a defunct nuclear facility. It's an energy generating facility. And the reason is because of the amount of power that AI requires, the computing power. So at least temporarily, AI is going to be fed by nuclear fission, in 3 Mile Island. Jason Davies says the dock workers and get jobs building and maintaining the robots. You know, that would be a worthwhile career.
Build the robots, build the robots.
Until the robot, yeah, okay.
Eventually, there's going to be an end. Maybe if not for a few generations, but there's not going to be work at some point.
So here's an article out of Neuroscience News. Debate could counter AI's impact on critical thinking. The concern, of course, is that learning institutions are no longer going to be cranking out the type of talent that they used to when everything was being done in the gray matter up here. Today, there's so many tools available, people really don't have to think to that degree anymore. So what they're doing is they're suggesting that AI debating with humans can help preserve critical thinking and communication skills. They argue that debate teaches students to deeply understand topics, because you have to research them, construct strong arguments, and quickly respond under pressure, which requires, again, some gray matter, some quick thinking, which they say would counter the negative impacts of AI tools that simplify tasks and just make people mentally lazy. All right, here was a great article, and this one is Stem Cells Reverse Women's Diabetes. It's a world's first. And it was a new study that reports the first ever successful transplant of stem cell-derived insulin-producing cells for type 1 diabetes were injected into a patient, and they became insulin independent. In other words, no longer needed it after just 75 days after transplantation. And it's maintained this for over a year now. These cells apparently were grown from the patient's own fat cells without the need of transplants or risk of rejection. And so far, there have been no side effects or signs of tumor formation. We're all excited about AI assisting and augmenting medical science. And this looks like one of the first clear-cut examples of that. And those of you that suffer from diabetes, as you know, it's a debilitating disease, especially as you age. So some of the comments regarding this: we will remember illnesses as a scourge of the past.
Very soon.
Mm-hmm. It's just one case, they say, and we need to wait 5 years to claim the patient will be cured, but it's a great step forward. Well, even if they get 5 years of relief, that seems to be worth it. All right. Randolph Schnack. Soon AI will instruct AI. I agree, Randolph. Jason Davies. Until the robots can do that themselves, of course.
Yep, exactly.
Yes. All right. We have a video. Did we show? Yeah, we did. All right. Let's see what we've got here. There is a video that we can pop up. It's Reality Blurs. And there's a 3D entertainment building in China where every sense is ignited, in that it makes it very difficult to distinguish reality from virtual. There's no audio here, but you can begin to see some of the magnificent graphics. The article says that the degree of realism here is fairly powerful, and that people back away as things are flying towards them. And this is an example of our future, where synthetic experiences become real. And it's going to become increasingly difficult to distinguish what we call reality, or what we think is real, from what is created by AI.
Got like 3 years left of solid reality before it's gone.
3 years. Okay.
Some of the stuff that's coming out of these video generating AI now is pretty crazy too.
And the boundaries, I guess, are getting annihilated. And it'll be interesting again. We talked about the psychology of these changes. How will humanity react when you can fundamentally choose your reality?
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially, I don't know if you remember a while ago, we talked about that. Mark Zuckerberg did that interview with Lex Friedman digitally, and it was like a perfect representation of their faces in this AI. When that comes out, you're going to be able to basically see anybody anywhere in the world like they're right in front of you.
Exciting time to live. All right, one final article I have here, and the headline here is Feeds Full of Junk, How to Reset Your Social Media Algorithms. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, is it filled with garbage? Well, you can follow some steps and change what the algorithm thinks you want. The article basically says just about everything you see in social media feeds these days is governed by algorithms. Think of them as the digital rules and intelligence that social media companies use to deliver a steady stream of interesting content to your eyeballs. They're invisible conductors that take note of everything you like, click, or comment on, and then use that information to serve up more content that you're likely to engage with. They do point out algorithms are far from perfect, though. Sometimes they pick up on the wrong signals and start to feed your feed with things that you don't care about. For a while there, for a couple of months, I was getting nothing but wild animals on the Serengeti, lions, tigers, cheetahs, ripping animals apart. And I thought, I don't need to see any more of this. It's depressing. It eventually went away. I didn't really do any, or I didn't follow any of these steps that they outline here. But it's often possible to reset those algorithms, they say. And if you do it correctly, you can completely change what your social network shows you when you log in. Rather than get into each of the platforms and all the details, if you go to any of them and in the search field type reset algorithm, it will most likely tell you what you need to do in order to change the content that is being streamed your way. Well, it looks like we've got one more thing, which is the $8 million humanoid robot. And there is a video here, if we can bring that up, Jesse.
Oh, you want the video? Okay.
Yeah. We speculate continuously. The robots aren't just coming, they're here. And the amount of realism is beginning to change as well. Now, granted, all you're seeing here is a headshot. But this is an $8 million robot that has a number of facial features and movements that simulate a live human being. And of course, but what you're seeing here is eventually.
Oh my God.
That's the
No,
first,
thank you.
the
I'm
first
good.
type of like Android almost. It's crazy.
He actually has some speech too, which is very crude at this point there, Cass. But yeah, Cass is definitely sensitive to the
If
uncanny valley.
Jesse would just show my camera, and the reason why I'm not even looking. I can't do it. I can't do this.
It's good. Just the lifeless eyes, give it something to it.
It's terrifying. My
Oh, look at
timbers
that.
are shivered.
Now that's what you need to see, Cass. Look at this
No,
That
I'm
is
good.
so cool.
one. It's the skeleton.
We should make one of Cass.
So this is a Russian humanoid robot, and it looks like they're working on something other than invading neighboring countries, which is a good thing, Russia. We're proud of you for working on this type of technology. So join us again next week. I'm Pete Gruber.